A few months ago, a mentor showed me Port Fourchon for the first time. It's one of the biggest ports in the country. And we drove alongside the port for this 4-mile stretch of road. And at the end of the road was when I asked, okay, but where's this port? And a mortifying silence fell over the van. It had just been too big for my brain to take it in. The cranes on barges looked more like a construction site. By the end, I'll relate this back to my research, which is about 2 dredge pits off the coast of Louisiana, shown here by red stars. I went out to these dredge pit sites on a boat a few years after they were dug, when they had started to infill a little bit, and I took sediment cores, which are like tubes of sediment that show the layers. I was trying to answer, how did these pits change over time? That's important so that we know how our dredging activity affects the seafloor and ecosystem around the dredge pit site. But hasn't this been done before? Most previous research has looked at sand-only dredge pits, which mine are not. If you don't believe me, check out these muddy plumes coming out of the river mouth. They're covering the seafloor in the Gulf of Mexico with this moving, muddy blanket. Mud is cohesive and sand is not, and I'll tell you why that's important. If you built a sandcastle, it might only take one wave to knock it over. But if for some reason you had silly putty on the beach and you spread a layer thin over the side of your sandcastle, it would be harder to knock down. Similarly, my mud-capped dredge pits with this cohesive layer don't cave in as quickly. And instead, they remain intact, holes in the ocean, ready to trap sediment coming in from other places. And based on my cores, it's a lot of sediment, and a lot more than I expected at the onset of this project. I've seen about 1.5 meters in only 2 years. And what really fascinates me is that this sediment is always there moving around, right under our noses, or boats. But it's difficult to observe because of its constant motion. But if you put a hole in the ocean in its path, you can trap it and watch it accumulate over time. And knowledge is a lot easier to gain. So just like Port Fourchon was too vast for me to understand at first glance, the dredge pits take a large-scale physical process and confine them to a much more manageable space. I'll leave you with this. What other questions might seem unanswerable because we haven't yet changed our perspective? Thank you.